Hey, JK here. I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me. This is matchup 17 for the year, and we're finally past all the wonky weeks until we get to the playoffs, where they may very well be 2 weeks, but we are done with that now, past the All-Star break, and we are in the last month of the season. I'm looking forward to finishing strong in most of these leagues, and unfortunately in some of them just getting it over with. I really hate to say that because I love baseball, and the fact that the fantasy season is coming to an end means baseball season is coming to an end. But that's enough about that. Let's not sulk. Let's go ahead and get to the teams. The first team we're going to talk about, the Funky Junky Joker Monkeys. We came out with a win 707 to 609. Top scorer was Lawrence Butler with 54, followed by Pablo Lopez with 49, Bryce Miller with 44, and the newly traded Dodger Jack Flaherty with 43. The guys that did not do well for me, all pitchers. The first one, Spencer Spaghetti Arrighetti, got me 7 points. He had a great matchup with the Athletics, but just fell through. Christopher Sanchez got me 6 points. Come on, man, this is not the first time you've let me down, and I had an opportunity to trade you early in the season. Some guy offered me Sonny Gray and Jordan Walker for Nolan Jones and Christopher Sanchez. I said no. I did try to make a trade with this guy later in the season. He rejected it, but it is what it is. Also, Carter Crawford got me 4 points, and Albert Suarez got me -2. The ads included Tyler Alexander, who was supposed to be a bulk reliever on Sunday, but ended up not doing that. So hopefully sometime this week I'll get some free points from a bulk reliever, not burning a start. We also added Jeff Hoffman because he's getting saves, he's getting holds, he's getting wins, he's keeping my ERA and my whip down, getting strikeouts, so doing very well for him. The drops included Spencer Arrighetti Spaghetti and Albert Suarez. This win is number 11 for us. We have 6 losses. We are in 5th spot. You need to be in 6th or better to be in the playoffs. Do feel pretty good, feel confident, unless I completely drop the ball, start all the wrong people, and drop all my good guys. I feel comfortable saying that we're going to make playoffs. Make sure we knock on wood because we do not want to jinx ourselves. Now we're going to move to the Cheese Weasels. Unfortunately, we did fall to second, and we have 121.5 points. Those loss of points came from loss of categories in pitching. We no longer lead in wins. We no longer lead in strikeouts. But I'm not too terribly worried about that because we can easily get those back. Remember, we were going with 3 pitchers on a rotation for probably a good month or two, just making sure we had those saves and those holds, which we're still in good shape there. Our ERA and our whip, unfortunately, did cost us another spot or two. So I am going to get back on the track of getting more starters out there. We have to build the strikeouts up. We have to get the wins back. And that way, we will move right back into, if not first, closer to first. Our top performers for this week included Lane Thomas, who had 3 stolen bases and 6 walks, Tyler O'Neill, who had 4 home runs and 8 RBIs, and Hunter Gaddis, who had 3 holds for us. Now the guys that did not do well for us. I'm going to read off a list of guys and tell you their at-bats versus their hits. So, Ben Rice, 2 for 17. Jake Cronenworth, 3 for 26. Bryce Terrain, 4 for 21. And finally, Ryan McMahon, 1 for 16. They all contributed a little bit. I think Ben Rice got lucky and hit a home run. I had some walks in there, but he really didn't do much for me, honestly, as you can tell. Bryce Terrain especially has been cold this entire month. He is hitting 189 with 4 stolen bases and 6 walks. That is it. That's not going to do it for me. That's what some of these guys have in a week, much less an entire month. Lastly, Craig Kimbrell did blow a save for me, so that stinks. The ads for this week were pretty helpful. We added Albert Suarez. He wasn't helpful. Max Meyer. He wasn't helpful. We did add Luis Ortiz, Max Schumann, and Lawrence Butler. We're definitely going to keep Lawrence Butler. The drops did include Albert Suarez because he stinks, Michael Busch, Luis Ortiz, Max Schumann, and Tyler Rogers. Now we're going to move to the Kent Murphy Dingers. This past week I was playing a guy who's been in the league a few years but has not been able to find his way out of a wet paper bag to find a win to save his life. This year he's doing really good, so good for him. He did not beat me 1 category to 9 categories, and I mean, he like tripled all of my stats. Now let's talk about the guys that helped me to lose again. Matt Olson and Wilson Contreras both hit 2 home runs and had at least 3 RBIs and 3 runs. Lane Thomas had 3 stolen bases for me, and Tobias Myers had a combined 11 strikeouts. The guys that did very poorly for me included Adolis Garcia and CJ Abrams being ice cold at the plate, producing 1 RBI for me. Also, we had terrible outings from Craig Kimbrell, Jason Foley, and Johan Duran, giving up multiple runs, giving up multiple hits, hurting my ERA and my whip. And then finally, Drew Thorpe had a 1.08 ERA. We're going to go ahead and move to the guys that we added, which included Jeffrey Springs, Tyler Phillips, who had a 9-inning complete game shutout, and I was still nowhere close to winning ERA or WHIP. We also added Luis Ortiz and Albert Suarez. The drops included Albert Suarez, Drew Thorpe because you forgot how to pitch, Brooks Lee, and Andrew Abbott. Now let's move to the Peach Creek Purgatory team. We came out with another win this week, 963 to 902. The opponent had 2 starts over the limit. Now, remember a few months ago when I did not go over the limit and was docked like 50 or 60 points because the commissioner said I had multiple starts over the limit, which I did not. I had bulk relievers. And again, still won, but it stunk that I lost points. What if it were closer? The other person could have won. In any case, this person had 2 starts over and he's not docked any points. If this comes down to a situation where I need more points to get a better playoff position or whatever the potential might be for more points, and I don't have these, I don't know, 50, 60, 70, however many points he would be docked, I'm going to be mad. Our top scorer this week was Blake Snell with 79 points, followed by Brent Rooker with 74, and Ketel Marte with 71. On the opposite side of the fence, we had 2 guys to get us 7 points, Freddie Peralta and Austin Raleigh. We had 2 guys to get us -1 points, Nick Pivetta and Riley Green, who is now hurting on the IL. Now let's move to the adds and drops. We added Tyler Phillips, who had a complete game shutout of the Indians on Saturday, and then Joey Estes, who had a good matchup with the Angels, but I don't know, I guess I didn't start him or I had too many starts. I don't know. I ended up only having 11 starts for the week. Luckily, I still won, but man, maybe I should have started Joey Estes. We also picked up JoJo Romero because he's doing great in that Cardinals bullpen, picking up holds and saves here and there, and even wins. Now, the drops include Javier Assad, who didn't do too bad his last start, Dean Kremer, who got creamed, and Brian Hudson, who is also on the IL now. At this point in time, we are 4th, second in our division. That means we are in the prime position to make the playoffs. We're in the last position to make the playoffs. So as long as we don't drop the ball, move out of 4th place, we are going to avenge the last place loss last year. Not my doing. I came in and daggone near beat the best guys in the league, but I digress. We're going to avenge that loss or terrible showing from the previous guy. We're going to make the Peach Creek Purgatory team famous. I mean, unless you know them from Cartoon Network already. Now we're going to move to the Russell My Jim Jams team. This week was pretty anticlimactic as we tied 7 categories, 2 categories. I was up 2 categories going into Sunday, and of course I dropped the ball. However, there were lots of good performances, so let's go ahead and read those off. First of all, Tyler O'Neill, 4 home runs, 7 extra base hits, and 8 RBIs. Taylor Ward, 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. Lane Thomas, 4 extra base hits, 6 walks, and 4 stolen bases. Tobias Myers and Bryce Miller each got me 11 strikeouts. Now, people who did bad for me, there were 3 guys that got me 4 hits in their total 40 at-bats. Rengifo, CJ Abrams, and David Hamilton. I think they combined for like 1 RBI and 1 run, like for the 3. That stinks. We also had a terrible outing by Nick Pivetta. He gave up 8 earned runs in 2 1/3 innings at Colorado. We also had blown saves from Craig Kimbrell and Clay Holmes. Now let's get to the adds and drops. There was no ad, only someone dropped to make room for J2 Realmuto coming off the IL, and that was David Hamilton. And the last team we're going to talk about, the South Harmon Institute of Technology. This week we won 10 categories to 8 categories, and I felt pretty good. I wish we could have won by more, but this was one of the top teams, so I'll definitely take the win, however many categories it is. However, we definitely should have won 1 more. I'm so incredibly upset. WHIP. We had a 1.153, and the opponent, had a 1.140. Oh my gosh, this is not the first time we have lost by a minuscule amount, but literally every hit, every walk, every hit batter, every intentional walk, it counts against you, man. So stuff like this, we're so close. We need to do better. But in any case, let's go talk about the guys that did well for us. There were quite a few. So Lindor had 5 home runs, 24 total bases, 10 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases. Tyler O'Neill had 4 home runs, 24 total bases, and 8 RBIs. Brent Rooker had 3 home runs, 19 total bases, 8 RBIs, and 2 stolen bases for good measure. Bailey Ober had 15 Ks and 2 starts in his 2-start week. Nick Pivetta, he did have 11 Ks. He also got lit up for 8 earned runs, and Hunter Gaddis had 3 holes for us. Now the people that did not do it for us, we're talking about Nick Pivetta, 8 earned runs in 2 1/3 innings. Also, Brian Hudson, you blew a save, and now you're on the IL. That kind of stinks. We also had cold plate activity from Bryce Turing, Brendan Nimmo, Freddie Freeman, dude, but he also got hurt. He's been out for a little bit, and then Luis Rengifo. We definitely need those guys to step up. Hopefully everything's okay with Freddie. Hopefully Rengifo can get back to his all-star utility man mentality. And, Brandon Nimmo, go on this home run stretch again. I need those. Now we're going to move to the adds and drops, where if we were to have a time machine, we'd go back to 2016 and have the top pitchers in the game. We picked up Max Scherzer and Yu Darvish. And then in present times, Tyler Phillips had a great 9-inning complete game shutout of the Indians on Saturday. We also picked up Spencer Horwitz, who has now a great opportunity to play both first and second base with Justin Turner gone, Vladdy playing first and also DHing. So definitely feel good about those pickups. The drops did include Jose Alvarado, because he's no longer the closer and he was giving up too many runs for me. David Hamilton, because you weren't stealing bases for me. Carlos Santana, because I already have great first baseman, and Joey Estes. Now we're going to be talking about some of the people you should add and or drop. Might be a good idea to go ahead and pick up Jackson Holliday again. He will probably be coming up to play for the big leagues in the O's organization, because they did get rid of Connor Norby. Maybe a change of scenery as far as like big leagues going down back to the big leagues. Maybe that will be good for him. Let's remember, Trout didn't do great when he was up the first time, was sent back down. I do have Jackson Holliday, so who knows what I'm going to end up doing with him. Maybe I'll see if I can get some trade bait for him. If you haven't heard of him already, he's been on a few of my teams. Tyler Phillips, complete game shutout of the Indians this past weekend. So if he's available, go ahead and grab him. He does seem like he's just going to be thriving in that Phillies lineup. Another player that a trade helped was Tommy Pham. Going back to the Cardinals, I think he's going to get everyday playing time in that outfield and RDH. I think he's going to do well enough. He's got a much better cast with him now in St. Louis than he did in Chicago, so make sure you're picking up Tommy Pham. He's going to get you steals. He can get you some home runs. He's going to be able to get around the bases. He got speed, so make sure you're looking at him. And for saves, you should be looking at Ben Joyce out in LA, because Estevez is now with the Phillies, and because he's probably the last guy left in the bullpen, Chad Green, for the Blue Jays. Not really excited about him, not really excited about the Blue Jays, but if you need saves, it's not going to hurt. Well, that's going to do it for the recaps. I had a pretty good season except for the Kent Murphy Dingers. I do hope that we are able to make these late season pushes, make the right adds, make the right starts, most importantly, get to the playoffs, because when you're in the playoffs, anyone can be dangerous. I hope that these ads, again, will help you get to the playoffs. This is Jake Cake, and I want to thank you for sharing part of your day with me.